Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the Gracious, the Merciful. Praise be to Allah, who sent down His servant the book, which is free from any ambiguity, and which rightly directs to give warning of stern punishment from Him, and to proclaim to the believers, and to proclaim to the believers who do righteous deeds, that they shall have an excellent recompense wherein they will remain forever, and warn those who say Allah has taken to Himself a son. They have no knowledge of this, nor did their forefathers have any either knowledge. What they say is monstrous. They are merely uttering falsehood. Perhaps you may destroy yourself with grief if they do not. Verse number 6, perhaps you may destroy yourself with grief if they do not believe in this message. We have adorned the earth with attractive things so that we may test mankind as to which one is best in conduct, but we shall reduce all this to barren waste. Do you think that man of the cave and the inscriptions were one of our wondrous signs? When the young men shout refuge, seek refuge in the cave, they said, "Our Lord, grant us your special mercy and give us right guidance in our affair." So these young men were monotheists. They worship only one God, and they were forced by their people, the country where they lived. They want them to revert them to idol worship religion. So these young men, they decided to hide themselves in the cave to save their faith, to save their iman, because they don't want to become a disbeliever. They don't want to go to religion of idol worship, because they already Allah guided them to the right religion. So they wanted to stand firm on that. So if they live in the town, they will be stoned to death, or they will be forced to go to the idol worship religion. So they decided to escape from the town, and they go outside the town. Then they went in the cave. There was a big cave in the mountain. They hide themselves there. And they pray to Allah to save them to become disbeliever by the hands of the disbelievers. So they said, "Our Lord, grant us your special mercy and give us right guidance in our affair." Then we caused them to fall into deep sleep for many years inside the cave. So what Allah did the way for them? Did Allah put them to sleep? Allah put them to sleep. That is the way Allah saved them, because now if they sleep for the many years, until those disbelievers who want them to bring them back to idol worship, they will be finished. So when they return to the life, their life is still the same. Allah is not changing their age. They sleep for 300 solar year and 309 lunar year according to the moon calculation, but their age was not changed. It was a miracle. And how it's happened is mentioning here. That it's a very beautiful story, and it's the way Allah saved them from to become a disbeliever. Now then we caused them to fall into a deep sleep for many years inside the cave. Then we woke them up. So that we might see which of the two groups would better calculate the time they had stayed there. So they were not one group, there were two groups in the cave. The one group was called the people of the cave, the Ashabul Kahf, and the other group was called the inscription. We shall tell you their story as it really was. There were young men who believed in their Lord, and whom we bestowed further guidance. We strengthened their hearts when they rose up and declared, "Our Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. Never shall we call upon any God other than Him, for that would be an outrageous thing to do." These people of ours have taken gods other than Him, other than Allah. Why do they not produce clear evidence about them? Who is more wicked than the man who invents a falsehood against Allah? Now that you have withdrawn from them and from all that they worship instead of Allah, take refuge in the cave. Your Lord will extend His mercy to you and will make fitting provision for you in your situation. The sun could observe to incline away from their cave on the right as it rose, and on the turn away from them on the left. So what was happening when they were sleeping in the cave? They were sleeping in the cave. So when the sun was moving towards the cave, Allah let the sun not to go in the cave. The sunlight was not going in the cave. The sun could observe to incline away from their cave. On the right, as it rose, when it's rising on the right, and when it's going down, and then turn away from them on the left, when it sets. So what it means to say, the sunlight was not going inside the cave. So what happened now? The cave have a low climate, very low weather, because there is no heat going inside. So usually if there is no heat going to the place, what it becomes a place? It's a cold, freezing. Example, in Antarctica, like North Pole or the South Pole, why it becomes freezing? Because there is no sunshine. So how Allah make the way for them that their body will not destroy, because Allah put them like freezer. Allah make this cave like a freezer already, because there was no sun heat going inside. So that was a one way to, and because Allah put them to sleep for 300 years, according to solar calculation, and according to moon calculation, 309 years. So of course, their body is going to rotten because of living in a heat. So what Allah did the plan for them, Allah did not allow the sunshine to go in the cave. So when the sunshine was not going in the cave, so the cave become like a freezer. It's like a cold storage already. It's like a freezer storage. So their body will not going to, their body is not going to be rotten, because it's like like in the morgue, like in the hospital, then they have a freezer room where they put the body for many, many years also. It will not destroy the body because of the freezing. While they lay in the wide space inside the cave, this is one of the signs of Allah. He whom Allah guides is rightly guided, but for him whom He let go misguide, you will find no helper nor guide. You would have thought that they were awake, though they were sleeping. So when you see them, you might think that they are awake, but they are not awake. They are sleeping. We turn them over to the right and to the left. Okay. Now listen to this. It's a medical aspect here. Because they were sleeping, if one position like this example, what will happen? Example, if the patient in the hospital sleeping like this, straight, the body will have a bad back, the back will have a source, very painful, it's bleed also. So what Allah did, Allah was let angels to turn their body on the right and on the left. So it's always changing, not sleeping on one side, because if they sleep on one side, they will get the bed sores in their back. So Allah said, you would have thought they were awake, though they were sleeping. They lay sleeping. We turned them over to the right and to the left, while their dog lay at the cave's entrance with legs outstretched. And these two groups, the Ashab Kahf and the description, they have a dog on the gate, on the entrance of the cave, legs outstretched. Had you looked down and seen them, you would have surely turned your back and fled in terror. So what Allah said now, very surprisingly, if you see these people are sleeping and they are moving like this, turn right, turn side, and then dog is on that door, house is stretching the dog and is also sleeping. And you say, if you can go and see the cave, you will fled away, you will run away, with the terror, with the fear too much, with what's going on, what's happening here inside this cave. In this course of time, we raised them up so that they might question one another. One of them asked, how long? So now they wake up after 300 years and their body is not rotten. They're very well, and then Allah protected them from the disbelievers, because all those disbelievers are gone. They already died. Now they wake up and they are talking to each other. How long have they stayed? So they said to each other, we have stayed a day or part of a day. But the others said, your Lord knows best how long you have stayed here. Let one of you to go then with these silver coins to the town, and let him find out what food is purest there, the cleanest there. Purest means is cleanest there, because they are believers, so they want to clean food. They don't like to eat the unlawful or dirty food. And bring you back a supply of it. So now they same like in lockdown, only one person go out and to buy food. So now they said one person go out because they're afraid they might be caught by the disbelievers and want them to bring back to the idol worship religion. So they said only one person to go and buy the clean food, the halal food, and bring you back a supply of it. Let him conduct himself with caution, with take care, and not disclose your whereabouts to anyone. For if they find you out, they will stone you. If they find you out, they will stone you to the death or force you back into their idol worship faith. In that case, you would never prosper. Thus we disclose things to them. Thus we disclose things to them so that they might know that Allah's promise was true, and there was no doubt about the hour. The people argued about them among themselves. They said, make a building over them for remembrance. Their Lord knows best concerning them. Those who prevail in their affair, they said, let us build a masjid over them, over this place. Some of them will say, there were three. There were three. The fourth was their dog. Now they are making false arguments. Those people who are talking about their story, now they are saying another thing. Some will say there were three, the fourth was their dog. And the others will say there were five, and the fifth was their dog. Guessing at random. And yet others say there were seven, and the eighth was their dog. Say, my Lord knows best their number. Only a few know about anything about them. Therefore, do not enter into controversies over them, nor seek information about them from any of them. Never say of anything, I shall do this, I shall certainly do this tomorrow, without saying, inshallah. So that's a very important lesson here, that Allah said here that do not say that I will do it tomorrow without saying, inshallah. Because if you say that will be sin, and that will not happen also. And that's happened here. The context of this one, now we are a little bit out of the story. That story of the cave people, that they were staying in the cave for 300 years because Allah want to save them from the punishment, from the idol worshippers who want them to bring them back to idol worship religion. So Allah put them in the sleep, and then now they wake up and they send somebody in the market to get the food. And then what will happen? We'll just go ahead after this discussion of never say of anything, I shall certainly do it this tomorrow. So that's a very big issue here. Without saying inshallah. Never say of anything, I shall certainly do this tomorrow, without saying inshallah. Remember your Lord whenever you might forget, and say, I trust my Lord. I trust my Lord will guide me to that which is even nearer to the right path than this. So when the Prophet Muhammad, there was some group came and they're asking some Jew people, and they're asking some question about Zulkarnain and about Yajuj, Majuj, Gog, Magog, and the other question. And the Prophet said, I will tell you tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Then no revelation came. Then Allah was saying to Prophet Muhammad that when you want to do something, must say inshallah. And remember your Lord whenever you might forget, and say, I trust my Lord will guide me to that which is even nearer to the right path than this. Now we'll go back to the story. They stayed in their cave 300 years, and to that some have added, and then to add it another 9 years. So many years I did not know why 300 years and adding 9 years. Then after how many years I found out the mathematical miracle here in the Quran, that when you get the 300 solar year, it will be accurately, 100% accurately 309 lunar years. 100%. You can go to the fourth decimal point, like example, 254 point until 4 decimal is the lunar days in 1 year, according to the moon calculation. And according to the sun calculation, 365.4 decimal. And if you can compute is 300 solar year, it will be 100% accurate 309 lunar years, according to the moon calculation. So it means 100 years is equal to, 100 solar years is equal to 103 lunar years, or 1 solar year is equal to 1.03 lunar year, or the moon year, according to the moon calculation. Say Allah knows best how long they stayed in it. Only Allah has knowledge of the unseen in the heavens and the earth. And on the earth, how well he sees and how well he hears. Man has no other guardian beside him. He allows none to share his sovereignty. How well he sees and how well he hears. Man has no other guardian besides him. He, Allah, allows none to share his sovereignty. Allah allows none to share his kingdom, his sovereignty, his rulership, his kingship. He is only the king. He is the king of the kings. Allah said in the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, when Allah will destroy this earth, all the human beings, all the jinn, all the angels, everybody will destroy it. Allah will destroy all the earth before the day of judgment. Then Allah will say, Aina al-Malikun, where are the kings? Nobody answered because everybody is finished. Only Allah remain. The God Almighty Allah remain. Then He will say, Aina al-Malikun, where are the kings? And nobody will reply because everybody is finished. Then Allah will reply Himself, Ana al-Malik, I am the king. Lillahi al-Wahidul Qahar. He is the one, is the only powerful. Proclaim what has been revealed to you from your Lord's book. None can change from the book of your Lord. None can change His words. You shall find no refuge besides Him. Keep yourself attached to those who call on their Lord morning and evening, seeking His pleasure, and do not let your eyes turn away from them, desiring the attraction of the worldly life, and do not obey one whose heart we have made heedless of our remembrance, one who pursues his own whims and become dissolute. Say, this is the truth from your Lord. Let him who will believe in it, and him who will deny it. It's a choice. People can believe or they can deny. They can refuse to become a disbeliever. For the wrongdoers, we have prepared a fire which will cover them like a canopy, and if they beg for water in the hellfire, they will be given water as hot as molten lead. They will be given the water as hot as molten lead. So lead has very high melting point. So lead is some kind of metal which has very high melting point. So it will be, the water will be not 100 degrees centigrade, but will be like the molten lead, which will be like 1,000 degrees centigrade. So imagine this, 100 degrees centigrade boiling water can burn a person in this life. So what about the hellfire? The water will be not 100 degrees centigrade, but will be in thousands of degrees centigrade, because lead has a very high melting point. So Allah said, they will be given the water as hot as molten lead, which will scald, burn their faces. How dreadful a drink, and how evil is a resting place. As for those who believe and do good deeds, we do not let the reward of anyone who does a good deed go to waste. They shall dwell in the gardens of eternity where rivers flow at their feet, reclining upon raised couches. So now is a description of the paradise. As for those who believe and do good deeds, we do not let the reward of anyone who does good deed to go to waste. They shall dwell in the paradise, in the gardens of eternity, under which rivers flow at their feet, reclining upon raised couches. They will adorn with bracelets of gold and will wear green robes of fine silk. So there will be the bracelets of gold in the paradise, and will be the green robes of fine silk and heavy brocade. Also, work with the heavy brocade on those robes, on those clothes. An excellent reward and excellent resting place. Recite to them the parable of two men. One of them we provided with two grape yards, the gardens of the grapes, which we surrounded with date palms, and placed a field of grain like maybe rice or wheat, something, corn in between. Each garden produced its fruits and did not fail to yield its best. We even caused a river to gush forth in the midst of them. So he had fruit in abundance. While conversing with his companion, he said, I am wealthier than you, I am richer than you, and have a bigger following. Means he has more people and more children, etc. Having thus harmed his own soul, he entered his garden, saying, I do not think this will ever perish. And I do not believe that hour will come, the end of the world will come. Even if I am returned to my Lord, I shall surely find a better place than this. His companion replied in the course of their discussion, do you deny him who created you from the dust, and from a small drop of fluid, the sperm, then formed you into a man? But as far as I am concerned, Allah alone is my Lord, and I set up no partners with him. When you entered your garden, why did you not say, Inshallah, mashallah? Why did you say mashallah? Means it is happened by the will of Allah. There is no power except with Allah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Although you see I have less wealth and less offspring than you, my Lord will give me a garden better than yours, and send down thunderbolts from heaven upon your grapeyards, turning it into a barren waste, or its water may sink into the earth, so that you will never be able to find it again. So it was, and all his fruits was destroyed. The grapes had all fallen down on their trellises, and their owner wrung his hands, bewailing all that he had spent on his garden. He said, would that I had not associated anyone with my Lord. He had no party to help him against Allah, nor was he able to defend himself. The only support is from Allah, the true Allah. He is the best in rewarding and the best in respect of the final outcome. So that's a very good example here, that when you are arrogant for whatever Allah has given you, then Allah has power to take it back, to get back from you. So never be arrogant for whatever Allah has given, rather to share with others. So this person was arrogant, plus he don't want to share. He don't want anybody to share with his gardens, especially to the poor. So Allah burn his both gardens. Give them an example about the worldly life. It is like a vegetation of the earth that thrives when watered by the rain, which we send down from the sky, and then it will all become stubble, which the winds blows away. Allah has power over everything. Wealth and children are an ornament of the life of this world, but deeds of the lasting merit are better rewarded by your Lord, and a far better source of hope. The day we shall make the mountains move, and you will see the earth The day we shall make the mountains move, and you will see the earth laid bare, and we shall gather all mankind together, and shall not leave any one of them behind. They will be raised before your Lord, standing in the rows, and he will say to them, now you have come to us as we created you at first, but you supposed that we would not appoint the time for fulfillment of our promise to you. So those who disbelieve in the hereafter, the day of judgment, and those who believe in the day of judgment, they all will be gathered in front of Allah for the judgment day, and it's sure to come. The books of the deeds will be placed before them, and you will see the guilty people apprehensive about its content. So everybody is going to give the book of the deeds, the amal, the whatever good deeds or the bad deeds is there. So those who are successful, they will given their good deeds in the right hand, and those who are loser, they will be given the deeds, the book of the deeds in the left hand. They will say, woe to us! What a record is this! It does not leave any deed. It does not leave means does not forget any deed. Everything is there. Whatever they did in the life, it's there. It does not leave any deed, small or large, unaccounted for. Everything is accounted. They will find everything they ever did laid in the front of them. Your Lord will not be unjust to anyone. When we say to the angels, prostrate yourself for Adam, means it was to Allah the prostration, the falling on the face, but for the success of Adam, because Allah was appointed Adam in the earth as Khalifa, the ruler, exchanged from the jinn, the Iblis, the shaitan, because before the jinn, who are made from the fire, were the ruler on the earth. So Allah removed them and made their successor on the earth is Adam, the human being. All prostrated themselves except shaitan, the Iblis. He was one of the jinn and he disobeyed his Lord's command. Do you then take him and his offsprings as protector instead of me, despite their enmity towards you? So Allah is saying that the shaitan, the devil, has an offspring, like Adam. We are the offspring of Adam. So Allah is saying, are you going to follow shaitan and his offspring instead of Allah? And he is our enemy. So why should we follow enemy? Why should we follow him? Rather we follow the commandments of Allah so he can make us successful. I did not call them to witness as the creation of the heavens and the earth, nor at their own creation. So Allah was not calling to witness your creation or the creation of the heavens and the earth. The heavens and the earth means the universe, and above the universe, the other heavens, the skies were created for billions of years ago. And when we were created, Allah did not tell us to come and witness, but He just created us without our choice. I do not take as my helpers those who lead others astray. On that day, He will say to them, call on those whom you thought to be my partners. And they will call on them, but their prayer will not be heard. And we shall place a barrier between them. The guilty shall see the fire and realize that they are going to fall into it. They shall find no way of escape from it. We have explained in various ways in this Quran for the benefit of the mankind all kinds of example. But the man is most contentious. Nothing prevents people from believing when they are given guidance or from asking forgiveness of their Lord. But the fact that the fate of the previous people should befall them or to have the punishment come upon them face to face. We only send the messengers to bring good news and to give warning. Those who deny use fallacious arguments to nullify the truth, treating my revelation and my warning as a jest. Who is more wicked than he who has been reminded of the revelation, who has been reminding of the revelations of his Lord, then turns away from them and forgets what his own hands have done. We have cast veils over their hearts lest they understand our words, and made them hard of hearing. Call them as you may to the right path. Call them as you may to the right path, they shall never be guided. Your Lord is the forgiving one, the possessor of mercy. If he had to take them to task for the wrongs they have done, he would have hastened their punishment. They have an appointed time beyond which there will be no escape for them. We destroyed these communities when they went on doing wrong, and we appointed a time for their destruction. Recall how Musa said to his servant, I shall not give up until I reach the place where both seas meet, even if it takes me years. But when at last they came to the land where the two seas meet, they forgot their fish, and it swiftly made its way into sea. After they had passed the place, Musa said to his young companion, Bring us our morning meal. We have indeed been fatigued by this journey. So what was happening that Allah commanded to Prophet Musa that there is somebody who is more knowledgeable than him on the earth. So Prophet Musa wanted to meet him. So they were traveling in the sea to meet, and this person name is Khizr. Khizr means green, and he is very knowledgeable. And there was a sign that where they are going to meet. So while traveling, the Prophet Musa said to his companion, Bring us our morning meal. We have indeed been fatigued by this journey. He replied, his helper replied, the young man, Did you see when we were resting by the rock? Did you see when we were resting by the rock that I forgot the fish? Shaitan made me forget it, so I did not mention it. It made its way to the sea in a miraculous way. Musa said, that is just what we were looking for. So they went back the way they had come, and they found one of our servants to whom we had granted our mercy and had given a knowledge from ourselves. So now finally Prophet Musa met that man who was very, very knowledgeable, and Prophet Musa wanted to learn from him something. Musa said to him, May I follow you? May I go with you so that you may guide me by what you have been taught by Allah, the knowledge taught by Allah, teach by Allah? He replied, you will not be able, this man, the knowledgeable man, he replied, you will not be able to bear patience with me. You will not be able to bear patience with me. How could you be patient in matters beyond your knowledge? Musa said, Allah willing, you will find me patient and I will not disobey you in anything. He said, well, then if you would follow me, you go with me, do not ask me about anything till I speak it to you by myself. So they set out, but when they got into a boat, which is a service boat by some people who get the money from you to travel you in the boat, and they were very... So Prophet Musa and that man, the knowledgeable man, they ride the boat. And that man made a hole in it. He started to make hole. Prophet Musa exclaimed, have you made a hole in the boat to drown the people in it? You have indeed done a dreadful wrong thing. So this man replied, did I not tell you that you would never be able to bear with me patiently? The Musa said, do not take me task for that, for what I have forgotten. So he was not making totally a hole, but he was just making a damage. And do not hurt me, I have forgotten, and do not be hard on me on the account of what I have done. So they traveled on. Then they met a young boy, the young man, and that man killed him. The Musa said, have you slain an innocent person without his having slain anyone? Indeed, you have done a terrible thing. The man said, did I not tell you that you would not be able to have any patience with me? Musa replied, if I ever ask you about anything after this, do not let me accompany you. I will have given you sufficient excuse. So they went on until they came to a town. They asked his people the food because they were hungry, they were travelers, they have no money. They asked for the food, but all the town people were very stingy. They were very niggard. They did not offer them any hospitality. But these town people were refused hospitality. They found a wall in the town which was about to fall down. His companion buttressed it, he repaired it. And Musa said to him, have you wished you could have demanded payment for your labors? Means these people are very cruel. They did not offer us, we are guests, but they did not offer us any food. Even we asked, they refused the hospitality. Now you build the wall and you are not asking any labor, any payment. So now the man answered, this is where you and I must part company. We should be depart now, because you cannot patient, you always interfering. And our agreement was that you should keep quiet until I will tell you why I did all this. But first I will tell you the meaning of the things you could not bear with patiently. The boat belonged to some poor people who made their living from the sea. So this boat belonged to the very poor people who was doing this business of crossing people to the sea to earn money. And maybe some other thing, maybe they might be doing fishing. So that was a very poor people's boat. I wanted to damage it, mild damage it, because there was a king coming behind them who was seizing every boat by force. So when they were passing to a place, there was a king there, he getting the boat of the people. So if they damage boat, he will not like it. So he will refuse it. So that was his reason to make the damage in the boat. So these poor people will not lose their livelihood. So that was number one. As for the youth, his parents were believers, and we feared that he would trouble them by rebellion and with the denial of the truth. We wanted their Lord to replace him with someone purer than him and more compassionate. So the old parents were going to have a big problem with this rebellious son. He might kill them, he might destroy them, he might trouble to them. So this person killed him to save the parents from the rebellion of that young man. The wall belonged to 2 young orphans in the town, whose father had been a righteous man, and a treasure of their lay underneath it. So there was a righteous man in that town, the town which was people were very stingy, niggard. But that one was a righteous man, and these 2 young orphans have a treasure under the wall. If the wall fall down, these bad people of the town will surely get this treasure, and these orphans will have a problem. So Allah wants to save the treasure of the orphans. So He commanded that man to build the wall. So a treasure of theirs lay underneath. So your Lord wanted them to come to the age and then to dig up their treasure as a mercy from Him. I did not do of my own accord. That is the explanation of things about which you were not able to restrain yourself. They will ask you about Zulkarnain. Say, I will give you an account of him. We established him in the land and gave him the means to achieve all things. He traveled on a certain road until when he reached the setting of the sun, he found it setting in near to the spring of murky water. Means metaphorical, of course, because it shows like it's like sometimes we see the sun is setting in the sea, but it's not setting in the sea, but it's appear like that only. And near it, he found some people. We said, Zulkarnain, you can either punish them or else you can treat them with gentleness. So this Zulkarnain was one great ruler in the world who traveled all around the world. And there's a story mentioned here. He said, we shall certainly punish him who does wrong. Then he shall be brought back to his Lord, who will punish him with a grievous punishment. But whoever believes and does good works shall have a good reward, and we shall facilitate his matter by our command. Then he followed yet another path until he came to the rising place of the sun. So it could be somewhere in Japan, because it is a place where the sun is rising, where he found it rising on a people for whom we had provided no shelter from it. Thus indeed it was, we had full knowledge of him. Then he followed still another path until he came between 2 mountains. he found beside them a people who could scarcely understand a word. They said, O Zulkarnain, the Yajuj and Majuj, the Gog and Magog are causing corruption, mischief in the land. So may we pay you tribute on condition that you set a barrier between us and them. He said, what my Lord has given me is better. Help me with a force of laborers and with the manpower, and I will erect a barrier between you and them. Bring me the blocks of iron. Then when he had filled the gap between the mountain sides, now blow on the fire with your bellows. When the iron blocks were red with heat, he said, bring me molten brass to pour on them. So they bring me the molten brass to pour on them. So the Gog and Magog were not able to scale it, not to go out from that wall between the two mountains. Nor were they able to bore through it. And he said, this is a mercy from my Lord, but when the promise of my Lord come to pass, he will level it on to dust. My Lord's promise is ever true. So this Gog and Magog people is actually out from that wall between these two mountains, which is in Caucasus. These are the Caucasus mountain in Caucasian region, in Georgia somewhere in Russia. And these Caucasian people, which is like in America and Europe, in England, in Ireland, they are from that place. And they have lots of mischief because they are the one who make World War I, World War II. And they are the one who making other mischief, wars and etc. And like genetically modified foods and etc. And one of the things the Prophet mentioned that they will shoot the arrows in the sky to look for the inhabitants of the sky. And what is arrows in the sky is rockets. And they are planning to do Star Wars in the future. On the day we shall let them surge against each other like waves, and then the trumpet will be blown. We shall gather them all together. On that day we shall lay hell bare before those who deny the truth, who have turned a blind eye to my reminder and a deaf ear to my warning. To those who deny the truth, think that they can make my servant patrons instead of me. We have reserved hell as a lodging for those who deny the truth. Shall I tell you of those who will lose the most through their actions? They are those whose efforts have been wasted in this life of the world, while they thought they were doing good. They are those who deny their Lord's signs and meeting with him. So their works are in vain, and we shall give them no weight. No weight means no weight of the good deeds on the day of resurrection. Hell will be their reward because they denied the truth and made a jest of my signs and my messengers. Those who believe and do good works shall have the gardens of paradise for their abode. They shall forever dwell in gardens of paradise, desiring no change. Tell them, if the ocean become ink for writing the word of my Lord, surely the ocean would be exhausted before the word of my Lord came to an end, even if we were to add another ocean to it. So there's a very beautiful explanation here. In other part of the Quran, Allah said, if all the trees to become the pen, look at here. If all the trees to become the pen, all the trees you make the pen, and then all the ocean, the seas, become the ink, and then you keep on writing the words of Allah. Words of Allah means the praise of Allah, the glorification of Allah, the magnification of Allah. Then Allah said, all the trees will be finished, all the inks will be, all the seas which convert into the ink will be finished, and you add another seas, another 7 seas. They all will finish, but the words of Allah, the power of Allah, the praise of Allah will never finish. And the last verse of the Surah Kahf, say, I am only a human being like yourself. So Allah is saying to Prophet Muhammad to say to the people, say, I am only a human being like yourself. It is revealed to me that your God is only one God. La ilaha illallah. The same thing the Prophet Jesus was telling to children of Israel, Shama Israelo, Adna Ilahino, Adonai Elohino, Adonai Ahad. He said, Hear, O Israel, the God, the Lord our God, he said, the Prophet Jesus said, Shema Israelo, Hear, O Israel, Lord our God is only one Lord. So he said clearly that he is not God, but he is God and your God, my God and your God is only one God. And that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the same thing here Allah is saying to Prophet Muhammad to proclaim. Say to them, I am only a human being like yourself. It is revealed to me that your God is only one God. So let him, he hopes, to meet his Lord, to do good deeds, and let him associate no one else in worship of his Lord. Direct worship only to the Almighty Lord. And that is the same thing in the Old Testament. Thou shalt have any God beside me. Thou shalt not worship the idols. And always the first commandment is this. As Jesus said, the first commandment, to worship God, and the second commandment, to love your neighbors like yourself. So that was the Surah Kahf. We finished already. Like the commandments also in the Quran, mentioned it, which was given to Israelites, that you shall not worship any God beside me. And then the next commandment is mentioned there, وَبِالْ وَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, and to be good with the parents. وَذِي الْقُرْبَى, and with the relatives. وَالْيَتَامَى, and to the orphans. And وَالْمَسَاكِينِ, to the poor. And وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. And one of the greatest commandment of God Almighty Allah is to speak to the people good. Not to people, I speak bad to the people. Because the words are more painful than arrow. The words are more painful than the knife. So that's also one of the great commandments, that we should speak people good.